I'm JD. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and please hit like if you can. This is a very old Tissot and it's Simon's, and he asked me if I could have a look at this. It's the automatic Seastar. I'm going to look this thing up to see what kind of movement it has in it. All right, if I look at this as a Tissot Seastar automatic vintage and I scroll through all of these, you see some that are close, like this one over here, like old school, seconds hand. I can't seem to find the exact one. This one here is close as well, but I'm looking for more of a square bezel on there, or square crystal. Not completely square, but what have I got? I've got nothing. This one here, no, it's round. So there's a lot of round ones, but not a lot of square ones. This one here might be the closest I've gotten so far. What do you think? I don't know. It's close. So this one here is close, but not so much. You can just tell by the width of between the crystal and the actual stainless steel case. There's a bit of distance there, so I'm hoping to find the exact one. This one, 4 down in the far left, looks good, but not quite. This one here, the 70s Tissot Seastar, might be close, but again, not sure. So what we're going to do is let's open this up and have a look at the movement and see what we've got from a movement number. That way I don't waste any more time trying to do this. So this is what I call a PIA case. It's a PIA case, which means I don't have any tool that I can think of right now that can easily open this, but I do have a big tool that can open this the hard way. So the first thing I want to do is, this is a stretch band here, and I know that I can stretch that out like this and very carefully roll it. And if I do that, I'm basically making it inside out. So in here you can see written SP Speidel USA, S-P-E-I-D-L, Speidel USA. So this is a band. Now, this band likely came with the watch. So what I'm going to do is just take these out here and just be able to relieve it from the band, take it off the band. So can I very easily use one of these tools? And I think I've got a bunch of these because they were, whenever I bought a San Martin watch, they included a band remover, and the band removers are not too bad. They're not too shabby, as they say. So, but I've got to get a little bit close, and this thing is so dirty. As well, you can't get the band remover between, like inside the gap here. So that's an issue, right? So even if I can move that up, can I move it out of the way? So I may have to use a screwdriver actually to do this, because I don't think this band remover will cut mustard. So what I'll do is I'll grab a screwdriver, which I know is thin enough to get in there. And I don't want to ruin my blade, but sometimes you just have to flip a blade because of this. Now the question is, am I just moving dirt out of the way, or is this actually moving? Because this goes back and forth nicely within this. See, I can move the band back like that, which is kind of cool. If you look at the way that works, I can move it out of the way. But the bar, is that bar removable? I don't know, actually. I'm going to have to get rid of some of the corrosion in there to see if the bar actually comes out. Maybe the bar just doesn't come out. Yeah, that is really odd. Sometimes you do get the band on these things. It may come out only on one side. So I'm going to keep working away at this. Oh, I can see it moving now. Now what I don't want to do is cut my finger. So I saw it move out of the way, but it doesn't look like it wants to just jump out of the way. Yeah, one side wants to move and the other one doesn't. So that's kind of a pain in the butt. And these screwdriver blades can be pretty sharp. So you can damage your fingers by doing this if you don't pay attention to what you're doing. I wish they had drilled out holes on the band. That way I could remove it and not be concerned about cutting myself. So anyway, I'm going to fart with this and try to get this band off. Alright, I got one side off. This is really interesting the way this thing is designed. So this will all go into the ultrasonic cleaner. But what I did was I moved this out of the way with my fingernail or thumbnail. Then I put my screwdriver in here, and then I basically rotated my screwdriver on the inside until I got the pivot for the band to come out of the hole, kind of like that. And once I did that, I was able to remove the band. So there you go. That is a pain in the butt. So that's not easy, and because it's old, probably that doesn't help either. So the first thing I'm going to do to open this, I'm going to try using a ball on the top to open it, but I'll grab that and then use the ball for that and see if I can open it. So this is the Jumbo, the case holder Jumbo with base. So I place that out like this. There's the Jumbo with base. And I want this to very carefully or nicely hold this case. I'll likely polish this case later on too, because there's a lot that can be done with this case to make it look nicer. So I think maybe I'll put these in the second position here, and I want comment after on all this to see what you guys think I should have done. Right, wrong, other. I had a gentleman comment on one of my videos and said that he was opposing me calling myself a professional watchmaking. So, because I said professional watchmaking. So I'll remove that comment because I'm not a professional watchmaker. I just play one on TV. So now it's in position like this. Now if I can get the ball out and this works, we're good. So this is the removal ball, the best trick in watchmaking ever. So if I press down with this on the ball, will this remove the case back? I think I need more air in it. I may just needle some more air in there. Alrighty then, so I've flipped to a different camera just so you can see what's going on here. So there's the ball, and it has a hole in the top just to add more air. Made in China, but it's a watchmaking case back removal ball. So if it has any chance of doing this, it'll be with this ball. And it doesn't seem to want to move at all. So we're going to have to go to plan B, which is another tool. So this is what I call serious crap, okay? I'm just going to remove some of this stuff here from the table. So this is serious stuff here. So what I have here is a vintage case opener, and this thing is really friggin' heavy. It's AF is a brand which is pretty common in watchmaking. So this dial here moves these, I think they're called, what are they called? They're tabs anyway. So these are hard plastic, and they're meant to hold different types of movements. So the movement should be able to go between these, and I've got a number of them. If I look at my setup here, I've got, I'll just point downward a bit and show you what I've got. So I've got all different types of these depending on the watch I'm trying to open. So what I want to do is get the one that fits in between here the best. Actually, this one looks really good. but I don't need it to be too wide. It's got to kind of fit in there nicely. And there are groups of them, and I got them grouped by worn out rubber bands. So I'm going to have to change those rubber bands around, I think. So I'll just take these out because the rubber band configuration looks kind of shitty. So I'll just remove them so I can clean that up. I haven't had this thing out for quite a while because it's I haven't needed it for quite a while. So it's got all these different settings here, and these rubber bands, they dry out and then they crack. And I've got a rogue one here. Is that one on its own? That one is on its own. That's kind of a weird, it's really small. That's a small one. So I'll throw that back in there, and I'll clean the rubber bands up later. So what I want to do is find one that fits nicely. Now this one might fit nicely, but if I look at this and look at it with respect to the, these, it has to fit here between the lugs. I'm always trying to remember the name of things, okay? So, but these would be the lugs on the end, and these are the, I know the name of this, dies. I think they're dies. So the dies have to fit between the lugs comfortably. Plus, there's a bit of an indent here, so this would prevent it from going down. And so I'm putting that in upside down like that, and it's preventing it from going lower. So this one here is actually not too bad, but this rubber band's likely going to snap on me. So what I do is take these out, and they're held in by these two screws right here, and hope you find this interesting. This is yet another tool, and then I've got these, and then there's two different sides on this, so you can get, it's very versatile. So here, this is upside down, and I'm wanting to capture the right angle here on this, and I also want this to expose the case back, so I can use a different tool to grab the case back. Now I think that's the right pair, but I'll try another pair here and see if, oh, that's not as good, and these are smaller. This one is smaller, so I don't want that. These ones seem to be pretty big here, so this, yeah, this could in fact work on there, but these ones are sort of winning to start off with. More dead rubber bands, and I think that's close, but no cigar. I think that might be closer than that, actually. I'd like it to fill up as much as this as possible. So these two are pretty good. There's too much movement in this, so maybe these two. So if I take these two, let me move this out of the way, and I want to pair these up later, and maybe I'll use tape to put them together, but rubber bands are pretty handy. So I want the same side, obviously. So I want this to be in here like this, and I want this one to be in here this way, like that, right? So that's the setup right there. Now, I've got to pinch down. I need to find the right device here, tab or whatever it is, to grab onto one side of this to rotate it. So I want to be able to just put these down and then rotate them. So these ones here look pretty good. So let me pair this up and move them out of the way. And I'll get back in 2 seconds. Now the current die or tabs I have in here are way too small. These are for removing a traditional movement, right? So that won't work. So I need to loosen those up and remove those, right? Because they're not going to work. I think these ones will work if I face them inward like this. And I just have to make sure that they're squared up. And when they go in, they actually lock in square, which is really handy. And then I can turn that in and then turn this like that, and it kind of locks it in place. So let me just pull this one out here. That's these two. And put this one in. I don't think there's any. I've got a Rolex one too that I've used in the past. I can't remember where I got this tool, by the way, but I did get it, and it's old and it's really good. This thing is heavy. It's heavy as hell. If I put this on a scale, this thing is probably about 10 pounds. it's heavy. I think I'll weigh it later on and just show you. So the trick here, once I have these in position, is to get the dies in and lock them down like that. And so nothing is moving right now. And then this here is threading, is opposite threading on the other side. So when I turn this like this, they both open. And that opposite threading is kind of like my dunker that I have for dealing with my dunker tank you've seen over the years that I use to deal with, let's see if this fits in well like that. Yeah, the deal with the balance, cleaning the balance. So I think that is good. And it's not, I don't believe it's touching the crystal. So that's good there. So now I've got that secure in there so it won't rotate. And now I want to lower this so to get it open. Now I could switch cameras here so you can get a closer view of how this will be lowered. So before I do that though, there's always don't cut the red wire. But before you don't cut the red wire, watch out for the blue wire. But before you cut the blue wire, and make sure the red wire is dealt with accordingly. So, and again, I want to shout out to Sonny Morehouse, who's a great friend, a good watchmaker, and has always provided support to my channel and to me personally. So kudos out to you, Sonny. You're a cool dude, man, a cool dude. And then I also want to shout out to Roy, and Roy is from England. I'm not going to give you his last name unless he lets me. But Roy is the guy that gave me the special gift, which was a prison gift, which was a piece of pie. And I had to figure out, and it's mounted, and it says, "All the best, JD Roy from London." This is so friggin' cool. It's I think this is the best gift that anyone's ever given me in my life. I think this is so friggin' cool. And my wife said, that is so friggin' cool. So he made this, designed it. It's a chocolate cake, and it's made for watchmakers that are incarcerated rather. And it says, a file hidden in a cake might just get you out of trouble. And he's got 2 files, and these files are for cutting heads. And there's Swiss files, and they're Valerobe, and they're the same brand I use for my carbide gravers, actually. So there's 2 files, one's rougher and one's finer. And I'm going to make a video on how to make a screw. And I've made, I think, 2 screws in my whole adventure in watchmaking. Although, when I did my dunker tank, I made a lot of screws and a lot of different things. But for watches, I have collections of thousands of screws, and I usually hunt for the screw. But I think I'm going to have to make a screw. So the way this thing works here, it rotates like that. And it's spring driven. So you want this here, you just lower this onto the piece. And this here widens it and narrows it. So if I have these set too tight, it won't widen it enough to get around my watch, my bezel or my part, right? So I need to have it wide enough to get into place. And then I need to, once I've got it into place, I need to tighten that like this. And then once I've tightened it, I need to tighten the dies, or these, I'm not sure what to call them, not the dies, but the thingamajobby doohickeys on the end, like that. And then once I do that, I need to raise this up so that everything stays in place. So I do that, and that'll keep that lowered onto the part. So I'm going to just switch cameras and see how this works. It's pretty funny, in my setup I've got 3 of the same type cameras, and I'll have to show you what these cameras are if you want to record videos. Once you get it in place, if it's in place properly, and I want to look closer to see if it is, then I'll be able to rotate this, and it should rotate the cover. And I can see that this is not right. I can see it's actually squeezing in on the movement and not the so I've got to take this out, loosen these, and then bring it back a bit, because it's not squeezing in on the actual case back. I'm going to move this camera back a bit because I need to get my fat head in here to have a look. Alright, so there, that's out a bit. And now if I lower this a bit, it's going to raise that a bit. And then once I've done that, can I close down on this? So that's squeezing in on that side, and it's actually squeezing in on the other side. And now I want to lower this a bit, so I'll turn this part this way, and that should lower this down just a bit. So now I've got positive contact on both sides of this case back. So that's good. Now I want to tighten these on the end. And they do have Allen key fixtures, so you can actually tighten them quite secure, but I don't think that's necessary. And once I've tightened them here, these are just to make sure that the jobby doohickey stay in place. So once I've got it like that, I'm going to switch cameras again. So here we go. I've got it all set up, and I think I'm going to get an Allen key to tighten the ends here, so it snugs in on it nicely. The department of Allen keys. I guess the good thing about every Allen key ever made is I can just rotate that, see if it fits. Nope. Go to the next one. That one should fit. There we go. So that's the Allen key I need. I can just pull that out, and is that the right Allen key? Seems to be, but it seems to be freely moving in here. So I don't know if this is the right Allen key. I'll go one more over, and then if it's not that one, I don't know what I'll do, because I have to go to my bunch of Allen keys. Oh, there we go. It's this one here. So I want to tighten that on this side, and then I want to tighten it on the other side. And I want to see how much give there is. There we go. Look at that. So that's the case moving. I'm going to switch camera. Now I just want to loosen it. I don't need to do much more than that. So once I get this loose, I want this to be able to go up, so I'll turn the top part here to loosen it some more. So it's loose enough, it's out, so I can just bring this whole thing out of the way. And you see how the Allen keys pushing against this the die here is critical, because if it's not snug against the edge, then these things don't work. So I've got those in snug, and I've got them tight here. Everything is tight. That's critical. So now I can basically walk this back and take the watch out. And let me just put this tool away. There's the watch now. Let me just put this tool away, and I'll be right back. So when you're watchmaking, and you're looking at how much time does it take me to do a job in watchmaking, you've got to take every component of that job. So this, making sure my tools are in good order is part of it. That's kind of overhead for the actual work. But the person that's compensating you for doing that job somehow, maybe it's a coffee, has to understand that doing a watch repair is not a simple process. It's quite a complex process, and you need to have the tools. And you just saw a tool I invested in quite a while ago. I can't remember how much that tool cost, but it ain't cheap. So that is a very good tool. And like I said before, it has Rolex dies or tabs or whatever you want to call these. But if you look at these things here, these are for removing a Rolex watch. These are for your traditional watch, or these two square ones I think fit in most watches. And then you got one of these and one of these. This one looks like the end's broken off, actually. We're going to have to deal with that. But anyway, the various types of end points. But part of the job is to maintain your tools. If you're not maintaining your tools and they're in bad order, then they're going to damage the watch that you're working on, and that's not good. So I'm just putting some tape on these. I'm not sure how well this tape is going to hold, but I'm hoping that it's enough to just hold these things together. That way I can make sure I don't spend time trying to group them up. So, because that's what I would be doing. I'd be looking at them going, okay, which one fits what? And just basically taking my time to group them up. So I'll clean all this up and be right back. And while I'm thinking of it, if you look up OVW CCC, that's Ottawa Valley Clock Collectors Club. So it's Ottawa Valley, OVW, Ottawa Valley Watch and Clock Collectors Club. We got to change the name of that. It's just too much stuff. But that's Ottawa Valley, OVW CCC, Ottawa Valley Watch and Clock Collectors Club. I'm not sure who named it, but anyway, it's been around for a long time. I think since the 60s. Anyone can join. So if you join and you're a Canadian, and we have members that are pretty much all over the place. We're in Ottawa, Canada, but we have members out of Toronto. We have Tuesday at lunchtime, we have a coffee clutch where we just chat. And there's guys that on that coffee clutch that are expert clockmakers, they're expert watchmakers. And if you're an amateur watchmaker and you want questions answered, that's the place to be. I believe the dues is 40 or 50 bucks a year. I think it may go up to 50. It was 40, but 50 bucks a year. You get quarterly newsletters. I think it's quarterly, but you get newsletters for the club. There are meetings that you can go to. So if you're in the Ottawa area, if you're Canadian and you live nearby, then you can go to the actual meeting. And the meeting is a full day. The morning is usually a professional watchmaking hands-on lecture. We're trying to make these hands-on. I gave a lecture on making a balance staff because a lot of people are saying, hey, how do you make a balance staff with a lathe? And I thought, well, I can do it and I can show you. So myself and another gentleman that's part of the club, he basically showed how to remove a balance staff from a watch, and I showed how to make one. So we worked together on that. But it's a great club to be in. These things are going to fall apart. I'm going to have to go to rubber bands in the future. But we'll leave them like this for now, so at least they'll be close to each other. So join the club, and within that club, if you need any assistance as well, then you can get a hold of any of the watchmakers. So what does this say? Dines Jewelers Limited, 250 Yonge Street, North Richmond Heights Center, Richmond Hill, Ontario. This has got to be old. So Sherbourne Street, something Toronto. I'm thinking this device or this tool is probably from the 50s, maybe the 40s, or maybe the 60s. Not sure. And this is my shrapnel jar. Every time I break something or do something and want to get rid of it, I put it in this jar, and the jar is next to my watchmaking table. And I want to just throw all these rubber bands in here so I can deal with them later and dump them. Sometimes my wife will come into my watchmaking room and grab this thing and just dump it. I'm like, yeah, geez, make sure you don't grab anything else. Dump that. So that's that. And I just noticed that I have a watch cushion here that I can likely use. Yeah, I just saw I've got a cushion here that I think I need for something else. So anyway, that's done. So now I want to have a quick look at this Tissot watch. All right, let's open this baby up, and I'm going to get rid of my other camera, and I'm going to do it live. There we go. So now this thing should just open up. So you saw how handy that tool was, right? But I think this should just rotate open. And if it doesn't, I can just use the ball. So let's grab the ball again. Let me grab the ball, because now the ball should have no issue working. Yeah, I'm turning it and Come on, ball, do your thing. There we go. This thing still is quite stuck. It's resisting arrest here. There we go. I believe that is now open. And there is the seal that will likely have to be replaced. And there's the movement. And isn't that a pretty movement? It looks gold or brass. So I'm going to use a toothpick or a piece of pegwood to move this around. So I wound this watch, and that's kind of the amplitude I'm getting here. Let me just wind this some more and see what kind of amplitude I get in this. This has not been cleaned in ages. So it's a beautiful movement though. So I just want to make sure. I think I'll use a piece of Rodico to move it around. That's probably a safer way. Even this, I don't want to put pressure on it, but I can see that there's some dirt in the back here that would be removed in cleaning. So there we go. That's that. And if I look at the amplitude, I can basically test this thing and look and see how well it's doing. I always want watches to be doing really shitty. That way when I fix them, I feel good. So let me record this in slow motion. There we go. And now if I look at my fast motion, like speed this thing up and hit play, it's preparing the video, and I can kind of see the amplitude. It's going about a little bit over 365 degrees, which is pretty good. That's not too bad at all. So I'll put it on the time grapher now and see how well it does in the time grapher. All right, here's my time grapher. So let me just turn this on, and I will put the watch in. I am not sure what the LA is on this, but I'll put it in upside down here, squeeze it in. I can hear the garage door opening. My wife is coming home. It's automatically detecting how many beats per minute. So we're looking at 21,600, amplitude of 201, which is not too bad actually, and the beat error of 0.7. So I'm not too concerned with beat error because there is a lever here that I can very easily adjust the beat error. So this lever here, if I move this will nudge the beat error over. And I'm not sure what the LA is 52. I have to look that up based on the movement. So what I want to do is determine what the movement is in this watch. So now I'm going to do something really cool. So I'm going to go on ChatGPT, and I'm going to ask ChatGPT what the lift angle is for this movement. But I'm going to take a picture of the movement. So we're going to be doing. So I'm going to get my camera out and allow that to take a picture of the movement. So there's the movement there, and I'm going to take two pictures just so I make sure I got everything. And then I'm going to ask ChatGPT what the lift angle is. So let me look. It says it just defaults to 52 degrees, but that's likely not the lift angle for this. So it's a Tissot 2481. So it's now got the two pictures. And I'm going to say, you guys can do this too. What is the lift angle for this movement? And that's in ChatGPT. So you take two pictures of the movement, ask ChatGPT, and away it goes. Excellent. Those are clear photos. Thank you. It says I've got a 2481. And the lift angle is 52 degrees. You can safely use 50 degrees when setting up a time grapher. Would you like me to include the rest of its technical parameters, beat, whatever? I can just say, I can go yes. This is your AI lecture for today, right? There's the technical data, 25 joules, 21,600 beats, vibrations per hour, lift angle of 52, power reserve of 42, blah, blah, blah. A lot of good stuff in here. What about the value of this thing, right? So it tells the approximate amplitude that I want to get out of this is 270 to 310. Right now it's running at 216, right? So it could do a lot better than that. The rate's pretty good though, so I can say value. Value of movement. So now it's going to go look at similar watches with the movements and tell me what the value of this movement might be. And it's a Tissot, so it's higher end, so it's probably going to be pretty good. Yeah, look at that. So it's about 280 bucks Canadian in used condition. So at 280 bucks. So fully functional and cleaned, you're looking at about 300 bucks Canadian. So, and because it's a Tissot, a vintage Tissot, then you're adding that to this, and it's likely going to be somewhere in the order of 500 bucks for this watch. And I know that this is the rear of the case here. Let's see if I can get some. There it is there. And this says, I got to get my face really close to it. It says ACIER, Acer Inoxydable, INOXYDABLE, CH Tissot and Phil, which is a family, Swiss made, Tissot Fab Swiss made, and there's a number, case number on the back here too, of 448074X. Now I could take a picture of this and it would likely tell me all about this case. So I'm going to do that later, but that's what you do. So there it is. It's actually running fairly good at 213 in amplitude, but it has probably never been cleaned. I don't see any watchmaker's marks on this. Let me look in here again. Oh, there's one mark. So the watchmaker would have made a mark, a catalog mark, and I can see the mark right here. And that is a catalog number, not a date. I can't see any other marks. So that's it for this watch. So one mark. So I could likely get these scratches off the back of people trying to open this watch up with the wrong tool. And I'm very impressed though that it's running fairly well right now. So, which I hate. I like when they're not running well at all. So I'm going to try to get it better than 214 if I can. But I will be servicing it, which means that the likelihood of it getting gummed up and the jewels breaking and stuff like that is not as bad because it'll be serviced. So that'll be my next video. So thanks for watching this. Let me get to my ugly face. Well, thanks for watching this video and this adventure. It was kind of cool. The next job is to actually clean this old Tissot watch, and I think I will shine up the case so it's like brand new. I'm going to try to actually work on the crystal as well, which is a little bit dangerous, but I think I can get scratches off the crystal as well, so I'll do that. And a shout out to Simon. Hopefully he enjoys this video. I'll catch you later.